Hey everyone, and welcome to Nutty Chess Tips with me, Nutty T. Today I'm going to show you a few tricky and trappy lines in the Scotch Gambit. So, as usual, check it out. First off, we have e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, d4. When your opponent takes, the normal Scotch game is when the knight takes on d4, but we're going for the Scotch Gambit. We go bishop c4. Now there's two moves your opponent can do, is knight f6 and bishop c5. I'm going to do the knight line in a future video. Today I'm going to concentrate on bishop c5. We go c3. Now most of your opponents will take, and we have this lovely kamikaze bishop f7 check. Your opponents usually take, and we have this nice move queen d5. His best moves are e8 and f8. If he moves to f6 or g6, it's just losing. I'll show you that quick. So if he goes g6, we simply move the queen in, boom, f5 checkmate. If they go to f6, bring in the bishop, check. They have to move to g6, and then we bring the queen into f5 again, and then they only have one move, and that is h5. We have this lovely pawn move, boom, checkmate. So obviously these are not good moves. So if your opponent goes to e8, we have this in-between move, queen h5 check. Your opponent usually goes g6 with the pawn. We simply whip off this bishop. They usually take the pawn. We take back with the bishop, iron up this rook on h8. That's the first tricky line. Let's go back. So what happens if your opponent plays the best move, which is knight f6? We simply go e5, pushing the pawn. They have multiple moves. They have knight g4 or knight e4 or even queen e7. What if they move queen e7? In this position we castle. They usually go knight e5, forking the bishop and knight. But no, that doesn't work because we just take with the knight. If your opponent takes the knight on e5, we simply pin the queen to the king. Your opponent usually goes knight e4, and instead of pushing this pawn, which I don't recommend because it can lead to some tricky lines, I'll just show you. If you push this pawn, you are simply losing because of the pawn taking on c3. And now you are in check. You have to move, and then in comes the knight, forking the queen and the king, and you're just losing a queen. So that does not work. What I recommend here, just to take with the pawn. When the bishop takes back, go queen e2. Now your opponents will usually guard this knight, either f5 or d5. So if they guard the knight, knight d2. Obviously if they take, we take the queen. So what they usually do is bring another protector in with pawn d5, and then this lovely move, knight f3. Their best move here is bishop takes with a check. They can't take. If they take the queen, we simply take their queen and give a check. Look at this position. We are just winning here. So let's go back. What if they go knight e4. Now if they go knight e4, we move the bishop to d5. Now this knight is trapped. Your opponent usually goes knight f2. When we take back, their plan is basically to take the pawn and give us a check with the bishop. Now both highlighted moves are the best moves, but I just recommend g3 with the king, because then you're not blocking your rook. Then after your opponent takes, we take, they castle, and what we're looking to do here is just push a pawn and get the king safe in this nice little spot on h2. As you can see, we're up material, so we're actually winning in this situation. What happens if your opponent goes knight g4? You'll probably see this straight away, but we go kamikaze with the bishop, check, they take, and knight g5. If they go either e8 or f8, we simply take this knight and get castled on the next move. But there is a little tricky line here. If your opponent goes to g8, instead of taking this knight, we have this lovely move. Boom! And look at this. There is no way to stop checkmate. If they move the pawn to block the check, we simply take en passant. Bishop, only move. Take the bishop. They move the king to f8. And then we have this lovely move. Oosh! Checkmate. So if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out the other videos and don't forget to let me know what you think in the comments below. It's nice.